Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Disc Coverers, the only podcast online that reads, reviews, and ranks all 41 of Terry Pratchett's exciting and enchanting comic fantasy novel series, Discworld.
I like how you only started saying that after the books got good.
Well, I mean, this might be somebody's first episode, and they're probably like a Discworld fan. They're like, yeah, I want somebody to validate my opinion. Reader, if this is your first episode and you're excited to hear some positive things about Reaper Man, we'll at least partially validate your opinion.
Yeah.
My name is Iris J. My pronouns are she, z, or they. With me are my co-hosts. Why don't y'all introduce yourselves? Starting with Grace this time? I think we did Grace last time. Let's do Grace first this time.
Yeah, I'm at the bottom of our list because 2 of you are B's and 1 of you is an I, and I am the internet's beloved Princess Grace. She, her, fey, fair if you're spicy. And I'm jazzed as hell to talk about this book.
Yeah. And Belina?
I am still Belina. I am she/they. I am just glad to be here as always. This would have been the episode... To be fair, this is probably a good start for someone's first episode because this was, up until fairly recently, usually my unequivocal book you should be starting with. So, if you are new here, hi, congrats. Good taste.
Welcome.
And June.
I'm June. Thank you for telling me that I'm June. I'm June. She, her, and I have finally, for the first time in the history of the podcast, took notes.
Oh.
Yeah.
You could have fooled me because your views are always so in-depth and incisive on each book we read.
I'm very good at winging it.
Well, good news, readers. Today we are in for a treat because we are discussing, I believe it was 1991's novel in the series. I think it's the 11th in the series, Reaper Man. The second novel to be centered around the foibles of Death, the avatar of Death incarnate in the Discworld.
Our favorite skeleton.
Our favorite big, scary skeleton man.
He's definitely at least like one of my favorite skeletons in fiction.
Absolutely.
Trying to think of other skeletons I like more.
Definitely, if not at the top of the list, then easily in the top 5.
If you have skeletons you think are better than Reaper Man, listen to this episode, and then listen to Better Than Death. Listen to this episode, and then read the book, and then send us your skeleton nominations for skeletons that are better than Death.
Yeah, and if you really have takes, start your own podcast where you rank skeletons.
Yeah. I would love to hear that. Maybe call it like Boning Up or something.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be good.
Rib cage match.
Ooh, that's good.
And it's kind of like a bracket where all the hosts come in and they have to defend their favorite skeleton against the other one.
We're really beating around the bush here because this book was really fucking good.
Yeah. I thought the jokes were pretty humorous.
Ha ha ha. Really tickled your funny bone.
Yeah.
I'm here trying to lead us into talking about the book, and y'all are still making bone jokes.
Real knee slapper. Okay.
Listen, this is a really great example of clavicle literature.
I conscientiously protest from this.
It's okay, Iris. I like your bone jokes.
Thank you.
Your
Grace.
bona fide jokes, if you will.
Wow.
Anyways,
I'll have to come up with some more and send it to you tomorrow.
Belina, what did you think of the book?
You know what? Let me just go ahead and use this as a lead-in to go ahead and get the summary out of the way.
Yes, our Synoptrix Belina, once again, enthralling us with a delightful summary.
Freed from our trials and tribulations.
No. Just
get it. Hell yes. Yes.
Okay. Anyways. The auditors of reality have decided that the death of this Discworld has committed the crime of developing personality. He is fired for this. He decides to spend the suddenly finite rest of his life working as a farmhand for the dinky little farm out in the middle of nowhere under Miss Flitworth. Calling himself Bildor, he gives being human another go and does better at it than last time. Meanwhile, without death around, life has nowhere to go and it starts to slosh around. This leads to things randomly giving being alive a shot. Windle Poons, oldest wizard currently living in the Unseen University, fails to die when he's supposed to, returns to his body for lack of any better ideas. After several attempts to off himself, just in case there was a mistake, he's led to meet up with fellow undead at the Fresh Start Club, and collectively they discover that some kind of creatures are hatching from the snow globes that had spontaneously shown up around the city as part of this whole life excess thing. What they at first thought were city eggs rapidly turn out to be something far worse. It's a shopping mall. Malls prey on cities. Ah. The Unseen University factors heavily into this book, but as before, their job is to get every possible warning and then not do anything about it until it's basically too late. Replacement deaths have been popping up, and the replacement for the death of humans comes to collect on Bildor's life. Thankfully, the new death is dramatic to such a point that it makes predictable mistakes and is summarily dispatched with the magic of sincerity. Death takes this as a sign that he's going to have to do something about this, picks up all the little deaths that had cropped up, and complains to management, aka Azrael, aka the Big Death, aka the one who has a watch with a minute hand, millennium hand, and a neon hand. He pleads his case and reassumes his previous duties, though not until after he's borrowed a little bit of vacation time to go back and show Miss Flitworth the time of her life as thanks and out of compassion. Life and death returns more or less to normal, but maybe a little kinder or at least a little bit more understanding. Oh, and the death of rats and the death of fleas managed to escape the rejoining and are the best. Cherish them.
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent work. Great job.
Hell yeah.
I actually disagree with part of that summary, but I will get to it later because it's a thematic thing about what like something means in the book. Mm-hmm. I'll get to that later though because it's way late in the book.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, again, I tried to cover things, but not.
Oh, you do absolutely wonderful.
I just simplify it too much. Anyways,
you are correct that the death of rats and the death of fleas are the best.
Oh yeah, I can't
will
argue with that.
Not be able to shut up about them in every book that they feature in.
Oh, good, they come back.
Honestly,
yes.
I gotta say, I just overall really fucking loved this book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It made me cry a lot.
This was the first book that I actually read of the series, way back when in high school, like 2002, 2003, thereabouts. And so this one really felt kind of nostalgic for me. It's also the one that I've read the most times overall. And I said this outside the podcast that I'm a little bit worried I'm going to have trouble actually judging this one objectively beyond some of the obvious shitty stuff that came up. Because, yeah...
It is racist in parts.
Yeah,
naturally.
It's got some problems, but a lot of the previous books, the problems were kind of like core to the experience. Yeah. Like, you can't really take the racism out of pyramids. It's core to what pyramids are. Here it's just like, hey, Pratchett, maybe don't make those jokes so often. And aside from that, it's really good.
Yeah, you could take a penknife and cut out the weird Native American stuff and the joke about bonsai, and then it would be fine.
Oh, and don't forget the joke about bimbo dancing. I sure couldn't. I don't even know what bimbo dancing is. I mean, I have some idea, but that's an idea shaped by a lot of erotic fiction.
Yeah, like
I have very little racism.
Yeah, like I have pornography ideas, but I don't think that's what he was going for.
Yeah, no.
I really, really loved a lot of what they did with this book. I think the biggest thing is that going into this, I kind of expected it to be half of a good book and half of a bad book. Like half this is a fun death story and half this is not a fun Pratchett story. But I actually really liked the B plot. We should talk though about the fact that this is kind of two books.
Yes, like it is really split down the middle and barely do the twain meet, honestly, except until the end.
Yeah, like, every time we saw, like, I felt like, because really there's kind of three threads going on through the bulk of the book. We see, Mr. Bildor, we get Windle, and we get the wizards. Yeah, we get the Unseen University folks, and, like, I liked Windle, who, by the way, Windle Poons trans, and I liked Death, and the wizards bumbling around, they got some good jokes, but, like, I mostly found them kind of whatever. Mm-hmm. They did have one of my best jokes in the book, which was telling the librarian he didn't know anything about guerrilla combat.
Yes. I mean, I'm going to keep putting that. It's going to keep showing up in the summary, but it just, as much as I love the Unseen University, their job is to just do their absolute damnedest to be as far away from the plot as they possibly can be.
They're all Rincewinds, I get it.
That's not too far off, but like they're look, I love a lot of the nonsense, but mostly it is just nonsense.
Yeah.
You're right. Like the entire shopping mall arc of things, like all of that was not important to what was going on, which is weird because like the Bill Dorr side of things had a bunch of weird little parallel lines, like the whole industrialization thing that was going on in the later half of it, which was itself mirroring the replacing Death himself with a more modern concept.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I actually kind of disagree. I really feel like, I mean, this is going to be a thing that I'm going to harp on in weird ways, but I feel like the Windle Poons section actually did have a lot of thematic coherency with the rest of the book in some unexpected ways. But also, I feel like that wasn't most of it. Most of it was just, there's kind of the interesting core to that section, and then there's the large numbers of dumb jokes about wizards that are just kind of there. They're funny, but they're there.
And also, like, I feel like the two, well, three, but like the Ankh-Morpork stuff and the countryside stuff are both at different volumes as well. And that's why, like the half that's in Ankh-Morpork is very much kind of like, it's a direct sequel to Moving Pictures, and it's very much kind of thematically in the same, like, it feels like it was written from the same brain squirt as Moving Pictures had. Like, it's a similar ratio of jokes. It's a similar kind of idea of sort of a resonant eldritch entity residing in something very prosaic. Whereas the stuff with Death in the countryside feels so small, like so empty and quiet and small scale compared to the Ankh-Morpork stuff. And I say this as a compliment. It really reminded me of like the literary equivalent of like an Andrew Wyeth painting, like just really like atmospheric and moody, which I think makes, while I liked the shopping mall arc a lot more than I expected, I feel like the arc with Death in the Countryside with Bill Dorr feels so much more resonant because it has space to stretch out.
Yeah.
It's absolutely like 100. I realized when reading it that the reason I thought that this was kind of two books and like, or the reason I thought that this was going to be a good book and a bad book wasn't actually because of that, but rather because it was, in my opinion, a pretty good book and a fucking incredible book. The death parts are just so good and outclass the other parts by so much.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you go to the mall stuff, it's like, well, yeah, when are we gonna get back to the scythe factory? It's
this
if the other half of the book had been split off to its own book called Wire. I could come up with a better title later, but
Shopping Mall.
Yeah, there you go. Bargains and values. Welcome to the circus of values or something. I don't know. It probably would have been middling on its own, but it's yeah, you get it.
I think it would have been better than middling. I liked it more than Moving Pictures.
Well, yeah, that's true.
That's fair. I mean, any of the best Death stuff is always just human condition type stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is the first really, really good example about it. Mm-hmm. It's hard to really talk about some of the themes here because they just, I don't know, words.
Yeah.
It's fuck. I don't even know how I want to describe this. It's I'm sorry. I'm just getting tongue tied.
Oh, you're
this
fine.
book made me cry, but I don't think I could quite put the words to why.
Oh,
I feel like it's, if I can make a game stab at it, I feel like this is the first time, like, we've had characters who have been sad in Discworld books before, but this is the first time that, like, we actually focus on that. Like, the last time we had a Death story, it was pretty much more about, like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if Death was just another job and all this other shit. But this is, like, this feels like a pensive meditation on the nature of death and what it really means to people as opposed to the one meeting it out. And it has, because of that major focus on human perspective, it has to give a little bit more respect for its characters. It can't just be, wacky fart joke time all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like characters like Miss Flitworth feel a little bit more real and a little less like, haha, it's just a comedy wacky joke book. Like,
Yeah, like,
and even so, and also even on the Ankh-Morpork side with Windle Poons, like his undead resurrection really is also a chance for him to kind of take stock of his entire life and his attitude towards the world and stuff, which is why, you know, you mentioned earlier, Windle Trans. I have really come around to that perspective.
like
I really
the
get
first
that
things he
vibe.
said is, "I think I'd like to come back as a woman." Like,
Yeah, and it's great too because like after he comes back, like he doesn't do any of the standing on tradition shit that other wizards do. He finds himself being a lot more patient with other people and valuing other people's input and friendship more. It's really interesting, especially after seeing him as like a two-dimensional, really one-dimensional joke character in the last book.
yeah, he was a horny old man they named Windle Poons.
Yeah. And in this book, he's like a well-realized person who is trying to continue his unlife to the best of his abilities, which is really interesting. I don't know. It feels like because it's about death, Terry couldn't make it 100% madcap. And because of that, the writing is actually much stronger.
Yeah.
I would say even more than that, like, kind of... I feel like the stuff in here is stuff that Pratchett actually cares about. Like, Moving Pictures was about how films are bad and evil and corrupting the world. And, like, that's kind of what it does here with the whole shopping malls are actually a horrifying thing. But there's also this real sense of, like... Well, for one, it's not the dungeon dimension. Fuck
That's
the dungeon
Thank
dimension.
God.
Yeah.
Oh,
now,
fuck
that,
that.
now that we have the auditors around, we actually have a good extra-dimensional threat.
Yeah, they
Well,
even
The
say...
auditors just want everything to be boring. They want everything to make sense. They don't want any of this stupid feely nonsense.
Yeah.
And, you know, they obviously completely fucking botch the hell out of it because
Yeah.
the moment a regular death comes up, it's just this utter drama queen. And, you know, I kind of remarked earlier that the melodramatic death is just defeated by sincerity. That's kind of what happens over the course of this book. That's kind of what the arc of Discworld sort of feels like when we compare this to any of the ones we've read before. It just has more time to be sincere, to actually say things without having the... I mean, okay, yeah, it needs to take breaks to go do silly stuff, but likewise, I don't think we could have just excised the Bill Dorr stuff without anything coming in, because it needed stuff to break it up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that scene at the end with, Death's talking to Windle before he dies for the last time, and, you're all you got, but we're all in this together and stuff, and, that's followed up with a joke about Death's not running a franchise or whatever, but, it works. It's very intimate. It's very, Death is all about gallows humor, as you might expect, but, it's the sort of thing that always hits the, it always cuts to the truth, right?
Speaking of that particular point, like you'll notice in Mort, the line that Death would say as like his kind of thesis for how he approached the job was, there is no justice in this universe, there's just me. But at the end of this book, it changes to, there is no justice, there's just us. Which, besides being a better pun, is also more indicative that Death has kind of shifted his perspective into including himself as part of the world around him instead of setting himself over it. And that I feel like is like, you can't really pull that off with like wacky bullshit. That definitely feels like something that Terry, for sure, believed in when he wrote this.
If you compare this book to Mort in a lot of ways, the death in Mort is very like, yeah, there's the whole death is becoming a human. It's essentially the same idea. But in Mort, it's mostly used for kind of this comedic, oh, the all-powerful avatar of death is sitting in your place getting drunk. Haha, isn't that funny? And it's kind of funny. It sort of works. Here it's like, death is struggling with human concepts like dreaming and the idea of time and what this means, and grappling with why do anything when eventually you will run out of time, but at the same time, how do you not just spend every single moment doing things? And it's very, very good. There was a moment early on with the I want to find it. The when he first starts realizing like what's going on, and that when he sleeps he dreams, and also realize that when he sleeps time passes, and he's just so horrified of this concept. And there's a thing that just says like, sleep, he could feel her prowling around, sleep with a pocket full of dreams, he lay in the darkness and fought back. And it's just like, that's genuinely really good.
Yeah.
Ugh, that hits.
What if I gave a skeleton existential anxiety?
Goddamn, you messed it up. Look at him.
He's all fucked up now. He doesn't like sleeping anymore. Come on.
He's never had to do it anymore. Now he's afraid of it. On the plus side, he did fall in love, so that's nice.
That was cute. I feel like it's really great, not just watching like Bildor kind of like try to figure out how to be a person and how to include himself as an us instead of just as a me over the course of the book, but also like learning to like the whole thesis of his argument at the end is like, we have to give a shit about the people whose existences we essentially are the wardens of, because otherwise, like, what's the point? We cannot just pretend like this is all just cogs in some big machine, because I've been to the middle of the machine, and it is so much more important to see it from that perspective than to just look at it from the outside.
And also just this idea of like, what point do we have in existing? What point is there to death if not something to fight back against it, something to dream of something else? What without that, then death is just nothing. It's meaningless. It's just, there's nothing there.
Without something to live for, what's the point of living?
And it's fascinating the places this book manages to go. Which, incidentally, this was my main disagreement with Glena's summary. I actually, in the book, one thing that I noticed was that before he goes to Azrael, he's won. Like, he gets all of the other deaths. He defeated the other death. There really isn't a reason that he needs to feel like he's being replaced anymore. Like, he has his timer.
I would argue that he's going up there because the auditors are like, we're going to keep fighting this. This is just going to keep happening again.
Yeah, see, I would disagree with that.
I kind of feel like he had to go back up to Azrael at least once to say, yo, this is fucked up. And he does plead a case for, why he needs to be allowed to be himself. Because, Azrael is the one who rubber stamped, go ahead and try to kill him, let's see what happens. And one could argue that Azrael knew exactly that this was going to happen, because they imply that he's seen this sort of thing happen before, and he's going to see it happening plenty more times.
Yeah, because the auditors try to charge him with, morticide, living with intent to survive.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to keep at it, and I think he's doing this not because he has to do it to reassert his duties, but because he has to make a show of... He has to show that, A, he's learned a lesson, B, he still has to go through at least some proper channels,
so,
I guess.
That is what I thought when I read the book, but reading it a second time now, I really don't... My personal thing, I don't think that's really the thing, because the thing he argues for in it is
more time,
and even
right?
just more time. Will you grant me just a little more time for the proper balance of things to return what was given? And this comes immediately after the section where the only thing he does is go into Mrs. Flitworth's house and just look at her stuff and find the music box and find these things. And the read I had on it was just that this is kind of a moment of him going, I've won. I've defeated the auditors. I've defeated the machine, both the new horrifying machine of death and also the death that would be king. I've re-gotten all of the deaths into me. I've gone back to how things were. Bill Dorr is gone. I'm death again. Everything is back to normal. But this is a moment of just saying, like, but that's not good enough, actually. We need a little bit more than that. You can't just go back to normal. I don't think he's arguing to try and defeat the otters. He's just arguing to say, Mrs. Flitworth deserves this, and I want to give it to her, and I think that there's a place in the universe for that justice, no matter what. Which is a lot.
That's fair.
Which is really meaningful to me personally, just because, like, this is him finally winning. It's this great, like, fuck yeah moment, like he did it. But as a moment of just, like, he had no reason to do this, but he does it anyways because he cares on some level, that hit me in a way.
The justice here is giving Mrs. Flitworth her time back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that's all he does in the rest of the book. Like, that's it. It's a good moment. And I like that the dramatic conclusion of the book, the biggest moment of the book, certainly the biggest print of the book, is for kind of a very minor, unimportant thing of just helping one lady.
Yeah.
That was my take. Otherwise your summary was fucking amazing and really good.
That's a good take.
Yeah.
But it's really sweet. And, like, Renata is such a great, like, she's such a really interesting character over the course of the book because, like, it's wild because, like, we have another example of kooky old lady in this book. Miss Cake, who is an okay character. I didn't find her especially funny. This might be one of those, like, archetypes that British people are like, oh yeah, I know somebody like that. But, like, I was just like, okay.
I mean, she's the British equivalent of a church lady, so...
Yes.
Yeah.
But,
I'm more familiar with, like, you know, someone's mom who gets really into, like, all the school activities and nobody really likes her, but they can't get rid of her because she runs the bake sale and helps out at the office and everything.
That's exactly who Mrs. Cake is.
Yeah.
Well, we have her, but, like, also, like, on the other hand, like, Renata's somebody who, like, she keeps to herself. She has kind of a lot of tragedy in her life that she's, you know, pretty much moved past, and she has, like, her farm and everything. And it's like, it's so... We haven't gotten a Discworld character yet who hasn't just immediately given up everything that they are to us yet. Who hasn't been pretty much like an open book from go. And it's really refreshing to feel that. Like, it's like discovering that Terry has like a tool in his toolkit that we didn't even know that he had for writing. It's great.
I fucking loved the reveal halfway through that her family's all smugglers.
Yeah.
And then the follow-up of that where it's like Death is basically just like talking about what it is. It's just like, oh, the revenue. Oh, the tax guys. Oh, fuck them. Hell yeah, I'll support you in anything you need.
Yeah, like, yeah, we all thought you were a tax man. No, not taxes.
The other thing.
The other one.
There's a lot of really good, like, I'm a sucker for this death shtick, like, you know, well, you know, you're new here, but can you use a scythe? Yes. Like, it's good. Like, you see it coming, but it's good.
And then the way they take those same jokes, those same, like, haha, using a scythe and such, and turn it into something just, like, really fucking that hits hard, like with the whole he's going to cut the entire field one fucking stalk at a time just because that's the only way he can do it.
At first it's like a joke, but then like when the combine harvester comes into play, it becomes kind of a John Henry analog where it's like, okay, maybe like it's got to be him proving that his way is the best way compared to this newfangled fancy machine that doesn't give a shit about how many stalks it's cutting at once.
Yeah.
I mean, the weird thing is that one kind of acts like if it wasn't for the fact that it was itself a parallel to replacing death in the first place, it really would have just felt like an old man yells at clouds sort of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But again, because it was sort of emblematic of the rest of the story, it worked.
It's if this wasn't a metaphor for does the universe care about us or not, then this would have been real annoying.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, but it's right there next to, like, shopping malls bad. Like, I
Shopping
hate
mall
malls.
bad.
Shopping malls are bad, though.
Shopping malls.
I hate malls too, Terry. Like, I get that you made your bad guy gentrification, but, like...
Yeah. I will say, for the record, Flesh Mall was cool as fuck.
Yeah.
It was so
Like,
much
that
better
was-
than I remembered.
Awesome.
Also, it's horny, right? That the wizards get TF'd into dolls and clowns and shit?
I could
Yeah,
see
it's
it
just
as
straight up
horny.
it's just a straight up hypno kink thing.
Yeah.
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 Like, it's part of that, like, kink where, like, a person is also a place. Like, Gladys fuckers know what I'm talking about here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost a shame that all that it really took to basically completely incapacitate the mall was just ripping out the PA system.
So...
But at the same time, yeah, he would have needed several decades of internet porn to really write something that I would have found satisfying.
So,
Yeah.
is it vor to go into the Paul Blart Flesh Mall?
Well, they got him out, so no.
I mean, that's what it's trying
That's
to
soft
do.
vor.
It's trying to eat the city,
Yeah.
and it's going to do that by eating the people inside.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting because, like, on the one hand, I don't know if the whole thing is just like it's going to eat everyone inside of it. Maybe.
I mean,
Well, like,
it's not like its primary purpose. I mean, its real purpose is to deprive the city of its own lifeblood.
Yeah, it's a
Whether
parasite.
It might not even fully comprehend that people exist. It just knows that if it does these things, then the city it's preying on is going to slowly die, and it's going to get whatever the fuck it was supposed to get out of this.
Yeah.
Incidentally, that's another thing I fucking loved was the way it talked about that. Because, like, a lot of the stuff earlier with, like, the dungeon dimension has always been like, you opened a portal to the evil realm or whatever. But here, like, Windle Poons kept talking about it and being like, this isn't real. This is just a metaphor. That's not how these things work. It's just that everything is so fucked right now by death leaving that, like, metaphors are becoming real. That this is now a real thing. That the metaphorical death of a city can be the very real death of a city. I
Well,
love
slow
that.
down there, Buckaroo, because they do mention that this has happened at least once before. Quoting from the text. He sighed and turned the page. His eyes widened. The city of Conlee, he said. Ever heard of it? What's this book? Stripfettle's Believe It or Not grimoire. Says here, little carts, none knew from where they came. Of such great use, men were employed to herd them and bring them into the city. Of a sudden, unto a rush of creatures, men followed them, and behold, there was a new city outside the walls, a city as of merchants' booths wherein the carts ran. I'm really curious about this because, like,
It really sounds like there's like a Connolly shopping center or a Connolly mall or something that he's making reference to.
yeah.
But none of us really know our British history.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, like, I'm really wondering how the stars aligned for this previous
Yeah.
iteration of this idea. Because this doesn't seem like something that happens every day. It's like an idea slipped in from, like, outside the universe to make it happen.
Yeah, I just greatly prefer it to like the moving pictures approach because it feels scarier, honestly, because it's like
yeah.
it's not something else infecting the world. This is just a thing, and the reason it's gone from vague horrific ideas to very real horrific ideas is the weird part. Not that like the thing itself is like an infection, but rather that like the world
Right.
has aligned correctly to turn something terrifying into something terrifying and real.
It's
Forces of capitalism as existential terror, yes.
Yeah.
it's like how if you keep green onions in the fridge for long enough, they start growing in there.
I guess.
But Because stuff's supposed to grow in the ground, not in the fridge.
Oh, okay.
That's not a great metaphor. Anyways, speaking of the shopping mall arc, I'm referring to them as arcs as if this is an anime because that's easier than just saying this
the
half
plots.
of the book, that half of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the A plot, the B plot.
Anyways, the shopping mall tournament arc. What did y'all think of the Fresh Start Club?
I appreciate that they start as weird jokes, but then like they all get to do something by the end. I'll bet I got a pretty good laugh out of the Nosferatos or what.
Not far off toes.
That was the joke. All right, I got like it's a on a Nosferatu, but like the guy whose wife is the guy's a vampire, but his wife is really into the vampire thing. She's a vampire by marriage, and he gets like, yeah, I've married her for 30 years. You expect me to start biting my wife? And
Gotta keep a relationship fresh.
yeah.
Vampire Karen was certainly a character.
Yeah.
It's something that I feel like Pratchett does a lot, where it's just like, here's the goofy ragtag bunch of misfits who don't work, but then together they can do something great.
Yeah.
And it didn't really work here, because they only show up like once or twice mostly. But it did work. It was better than it could have been, and I loved the parts that we got most of the time, sometimes.
Like, Red Shoe kind of feels like a weird parody. Like, it feels like it's making fun of a specific type of guy, even though, like, he's in the right. Like, his friends are all annoyed by his activism.
No comment.
Yeah, I know. That's at least realistic. Also, our boogeyman does come out of the closet at the end.
Good for him.
My no comment, for the record, is about future books. I will say nothing about Red Shoe. He comes back.
Red Shoe starts as a parody of overzealous, like, activists.
Yeah.
And then over the course of the series, he keeps being that, but, like, by the time we hit later books, he has been retroactively retconned to be not a parody, but a legitimate, true revolutionary, which is buck fucking wild. And I don't know how much time we really want to talk about him on this episode, because
Almost none.
Yeah, he's really just like a joke here. But
yeah, it seems like his big thing is like painting slogans on walls and like being weird about he's actually kind of mad at Windle when he decides he's ready to die.
Yeah.
To all of my friends who have read all of Discworld, or at least major portions of it, shout out to the section where it talks about him tending his own grave. Shout out to which cemetery exactly that was. Anyways.
Yeah.
That's my oblique reference back to the podcast.
I really liked Lupine, the wereman. I thought he was great. I don't think Lupine comes back in future books, but I would have liked to see more of him and Ludmilla later on. That was cute.
I like that Ludmilla just helps establish right from the get-go that Terry Pratchett thinks all werewolf ladies are just the hottest thing in creation.
Yeah, fucking loves Ludmilla.
True.
Like, I don't think that Ludmilla herself will show up, but we're very close to meeting another werewolf lady who's got the exact same thing of just being the most attractive woman you've ever seen in your life.
Mm-hmm. God, she's like 8 feet tall, and she has pointy teeth and ears, and it's just really good. Okay, it's like really good. I like.
We're all
gay.
We're gay.
Pratchett just goes out of his way saying that, well, she's actually built really well. She's got an amazing figure. She's got her hair looks absolutely glorious, even if it's maybe a little bit too long. And he's just beating this up, even from the perspective of a cis dude. He's trying to build her up as being just absolutely smoking hot the day after the full moon.
Mm-hmm. My God.
But no, I mean, he's not wrong.
Yeah.
But I just had to take a second there because there was no room in the summary for
where
her.
was the part where like the fucking the shopping carts, like they get in a fight with Lupine because Lupine's trying to protect the group, and like Lupine is in wolf mode, and the shopping carts like bash him into a wall, and like Wendell's like, okay, now if if you really, really are going to be daring, you're going to tilt your head and whine after she comes over and says, "Oh, what a poor little dog."
Yeah.
And she says that exact thing, and he does that exact thing, and it's like, yeah.
Then he does the thing with raising the paw and whimpering. It's like, oh, you bastards.
It's such a great joke of just like, you're playing this up, and I can't blame you. Good job.
Yeah.
Go for it, my guy. Just go for it.
We have not one but two characters in the book who are puppy.
That's so good. You love to see it.
Yeah.
Also, on the Windle Poons side, I just want to say, I actually really liked kind of the progression from eggs to shopping carts to horrifying flesh maul, mostly because, like, it felt more like a horrifying thing they were slowly figuring out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the notion, like, it was a comprehensive, it was a believable life cycle in as much as I can use those words.
Yeah.
The idea that for the longest time they thought they were city eggs because, they contain what looks like little images of the city, and then they turn into something that people find useful, but then they run off with all the things that they've gathered and they just kind of mash together and make a shopping mall. Mm-hmm. It's just it's really well realized.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not just like the immediacy of, there's a lot of magic in Hollywood, and there's a door. It's all there already. It's all there.
And also, you really feel like they're slowly discovering it. Like, you feel like Windle Poons is really, like, slowly piecing together this mystery, and it's like, when he goes, "I've figured it out," there's kind of a moment of, cool, I can figure this out now. It feels more like an actual progression.
Yeah, like we get this like really nicely laid out metaphor, like, well, if a city is alive and the people are the lifeblood of the city, and this thing wants to act like a parasite, then how would that work? And then you would trick people into taking these eggs home, and like it's good. It's it's kind of like in Star Trek when they explain how their future technology thing worked with a simple analogy.
Like blowing up a balloon and then something bad happens.
Yes.
Like putting too much air in a city.
Yeah. If you don't, can I just read one more passage about Flesh Maul, because this was like one of my favorite parts. "What's that noise?" said Ludmilla. "What noise?" "That noise, like something sucking something." Arthur looked around with a certain amount of interest. "It's not me." "It's the stairs," said Windle. "Don't be silly, Mr. Poons. Stairs don't suck." Windle looked down. "These do." They were black like a sloping river. As the dark substance flowed out from under the floor, it humped itself into something resembling steps, which traveled up the slope until they disappeared under the floor again, somewhere above. When the steps emerged, they made a slow, rhythmic schlup-schlup noise, like someone investigating a particularly annoying dental cavity. "Do you know," said Ludmilla, "that's quite possibly the most unpleasant thing I've ever seen." "I've seen worse," said Windle, "but it's pretty bad. Shall we go up or down?" "You want to stand on them?" "No, but the wizards aren't on this floor, and it's that or slide down the handrail." "Have you looked closely at the handrail?" They looked at the handrail. "I think," said Doreen nervously, "that down is more us."
God!
The idea of, like, a meat escalator is so gross and so awesome. I'm, like, here for this shit.
It's such a great moment.
So hey, how's Flesh Hive coming along?
It is awesome. I am thinking about this shit so much these days. This rules. I was like, hey, this is like that shit that I'm doing. This is great. Loving this.
Based on the hit novel Reaper Man, but not the part you're thinking of.
The other one.
I mean, have you ever actually gotten to wander around an abandoned shopping mall?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Yes.
It fucking rules.
That's called wandering around any mall in 2021.
Yeah. Like 5 or so years ago, City Center Mall in Columbus, Ohio used to be a fucking big deal. It was just absolutely enormous for its time. I remember being there and some of, when all the stores were actually filled up. Just the fact that it was a multi-story mall in Ohio was just boggling to my tiny mind at the time. I took up a job where I was actually within walking distance of it. And I actually walked out there and found, the food courts were open, but that was it. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of the creepiest places I've ever been. And, God, this feels super on the nose to even relate, but just the fact that at one point I turned around, started because I thought that I just walked into somebody, and it was just a brass statue that was the most lifelike thing in the entire place.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I spent the entire Flesh Mall section of this just getting reminded of those particular uncanny, weird, desolate vibes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Like, it's great because those vibes feel even more resonant now than they probably did in 1991 when Pratchett wrote this book. Because
malls were still a thing at the time.
Then it was like, oh yeah, malls. This is great. This is awesome. Everybody's like people could say it was a bad thing, but you couldn't say that they weren't popular. Nowadays, we're seeing like the dried cicada-like husks of malls, and it's like, oh, this was never going to be tenable. This was never meant to last.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they did kill the cities they were attached to, so good job.
Good for them. Yay.
Yeah, you got me thinking about. I was a child when this happened. I was like 10 or something. I went to just like the North Glen Mall or something. It was in Colorado, and like the mall was dead enough that like there were people working at some of the places, mostly the food stands, but like they didn't turn most of the lights on. The soda machines were all empty. Entire wings were just blocked off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout-outs to the Glen Burnie Mall in Maryland for having a similar situation. Mostly popular because I think there was like... No, it was a weird mall because the most popular thing in it was a grocery store, I think, that was attached to it. That was in the mall.
Places that sell food are usually the last to go.
Yeah, but everything else was like shuttered. Or there was like a Dick's Sporting Goods and that was it. Very weird. Very weird. Very resonant. I worked a lot in malls as a young adult, so like the concept of mall bad actually is still near and dear to my heart. It still works on me despite it being a very obvious. Also, to talk about Windle Poons just a little bit more, I think my favorite running gag of the entire book was people keep saying, "His eyes like gimlets," and then like more than once somebody would say like, "Oh, I know a gimlet who runs the deli down on Treckle Mine Way. Why do you think his eyes look like his?"
That was a good hit.
That was. There's even one bit where, oh shit, where is it? Yeah. Windle, like, stops a mugging, by just, like, picking up a mugger,
I actually...
oh yes, that's right, like a shot, said Windle unhappily. Now run along, that's a good chap, okay? Okay, said the prospective mugger. He was thinking, guys, like gimlets. Such a stupid joke. I love that.
On that note, I really loved that, like, Windle Poon's whole thing is just that, like, I really loved his relationship to himself.
Yeah.
In the book, the way that he's just kind of like, the difficulty with being a zombie is that you have to keep everything running, and I sure as hell don't know how a fucking spleen works. What the hell? This sucks. And at the same time, he could just, like, had just incredible strength solely because, like, the only thing powering me at this point is will, so, like, who's to say I can't just kick in the door?
Yeah, like, you can. It's just that your brain usually stops you from doing this because it's not great for your muscles. Or, like, Windle realizes that, oh, I can't read that sight, but then he realizes he's just being nearsighted out of habit, and he fixes his eyesight, and then he's fine.
He just squishes his eyeballs into the right shape, and it's fine.
It's this great like play back and forth between like why it's pretty cool being a zombie and why it kind of sucks.
There are pros and cons, for sure. I definitely think that I would want to be able to squish my eyeballs into not being nearsighted anymore. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, it isn't like again with the trans metaphor, really strong. Like, oh, I can just like take charge of my own body.
Yep.
And just tell it to go. Of course, you know, it's not as easy as that in real life, but self-actualization does start with taking stock of oneself and thinking about where you are and thinking about where you want to be,
Yeah, he dies, he sees he comes back, he's got a clearer head, he can look at things more effectively, Also, on my first page here, I forgot about this, Mrs. Flitworth, Death introduced himself, and Mrs. Flitworth kind of, I don't think you were born Bill Dorr, but, quote, well, a lot of people don't use the name they're born with around here, whatever. I'm not bothered by it. And I think what she was talking about is, I know a lot of smugglers, but it could also be trans. It's fine.
Not maybe the most trans book in the entire Discworld canon, but more than 0 on the Geiger counter for sure.
Yeah.
It begins. Before we move on back to talking about the part that's going to make me cry, I just want to say I really, as this book had a lot of wizards being dumb wizards, as they have a lot of the time, but God, Ridcully brings so much, just in terms of character and making it funny and not a drag. Having one dude who is diametrically different than most of these people, but also still a shitty old dude, just in a very different way, makes for such better comedy.
Yeah, if we had an Archchancellor character like, say, the Dean trying to move the wizards along, I think it would be a lot less enjoyable.
Frankly, the less the Dean did in this book, the better.
Yeah, he was maybe the most annoying part.
That and the racism.
The racist parts, yes.
Yeah, which mostly came from him.
Yeah,
that and Mrs. Cake's quote spirit guide unquote.
No. We're not even going to talk about him.
That made no sense, and we could just leave it there. But that whole joke line made no sense.
I'm going to unfortunately not leave it there. Because
oh no.
This is a problem that I feel like Pratchett has a lot, in that he goes, haha, I'm going to subvert this racist stereotype. Won't that be funny and not racist? And it doesn't work if you still do it, and you also don't understand it enough that what you're doing is still racist.
Yeah, he still has them talk like a stereotypical Native American. Yeah, the guy's brother is still named Two Dogs Humping. It's not good.
I gotta go back and check to see, because this exact bit was lifted from Good Omens, but
God.
I
does
need
it
to
again?
remember. I mean,
it's an old joke to begin with.
Yeah, I need to figure out if the bit in Good Omens was less racist or more racist than this. Because Good Omens is more racist than anybody in 2021 rightfully remembers. It's way more racist than that. But I need to figure out... That's a
bad omen.
I need to figure out if he decided to lean more into this whole shit or less. Because... I remember it being a little annoying in that book, but this book was wow. Maybe because this book was just didn't have as much of that shit overall, that it was just wow. It was here's a delicious bowl of ice cream, and here's one big ass roach right near the bottom, and it's oh man, we almost got through this without having any of this bullshit.
It's a problem that I feel like Pratchett definitely has. I feel like it is most of Jingo, which we'll deal with when we get there.
Here we go,
but
baby!
It's just this problem of him being okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the racist stereotype, and then at the end I'm going to subvert it. Haha, he's actually just a dude from the city who's pretending so that he can convince people that he should have weird spirit alcohol, I guess? It's confusing? But
This was all a scheme to get people to kill drinks for him?
It's confusing and weird, but at the same time, you can't just play into racist stereotypes and do weird shit and then at the last second go, haha, it was a joke. That doesn't work, Pratchett.
That's right, baby. It was actually brownface all along.
Yeah, it's not good. It's really not good.
No.
It's gonna stay bad.
If I can take just a second and nitpick exactly the wrong thing, he says that he came from Hawandaland. We've already used Hawandaland. It's the fucking Amazon. Why are you doing fucking Native American
Well,
jokes about the
Hawandaland, I think, is supposed to be Africa. Klatch is the Amazon and also India and also...
Yeah, Klatch is every single
Middle
place
East?
that's not Ankh-Morpork that isn't the counterweight continent. It's fucking insane because he just keeps cramming more and more countries into an increasingly small area. But Hawandaland specifically is where the fucking jungle stuff takes place.
Yeah.
Listeners...
It's place where jungle is.
Listeners, us going, wow, the gender stuff in this book is really interesting, and I want to explore it more because I find it fascinating. The race stuff in this book sucks ass is going to be a recurring theme for Pratchett.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this book's 30 years old, and again, we're applying 2021 standards on it when, you know, we're doing this more out of self-awareness, and because you got to acknowledge that it's there, even if it doesn't necessarily make the book bad by any stretch, because otherwise we wouldn't be spending the rest of this podcast raving about it.
It's not Eric.
You can't say you love a piece of media unless you can shit talk it a little bit.
Yeah, we would be derelict in our duties of podcasters if we did not tell you about the racist parts.
That's our job.
Yeah.
Anyways, yes.
This is the Discoverers podcast, not the Discover Up podcast.
I guess you could say we're disc uncovering.
Oh, shit.
Does anyone have any other big thoughts about the Windle Poons side of the story?
The Poons saga.
Or
man, that sounds bad.
Enter the Windleverse.
I'm glad he dies at the end so that we don't ever have to think about this character being
dead.
Yeah, I really enjoy the particular tang of his story. His Poon tang, if you will.
Oh, God. No. Okay.
Go back to bone jokes if that's what you're going to do.
Back to death. So, well, I really loved a lot of the just very, very silly gags of, like, death being too good at things and having to learn how to be comedically bad at them. I can throw a dart and bank it off 4 things and land it in someone's glass, and everyone thinks I'm fucking hilarious. No one considers that this is much harder than hitting the bullseye, so everyone loves me for this. That was a good bit.
Everyone loves good old Bill Dorr.
To be fair, even if they did know that he was doing it intentionally, they'd love that too, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the foundation of comedy.
I guess I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit, but I kind of liked the minor joke that the only real thing that anybody in the town ever says about Miss Flitworth is, "Oh, I hear she's got a whole bunch of treasure hidden away in her house."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, at the very end, Death does open up some of those conspicuous chests that he's been glancing at the whole time, and the small ones are full of money, and he's just kind of slightly disappointed in that. But they're also just kind of a weird little footnote.
Yeah.
Yeah, the money doesn't actually matter that much in the end.
Yeah, because it's, you know, it's the book trying to say, like, yeah, the world doesn't always feed into neat little narrative arcs, which is weird for a book to say. That does have a couple of neat little narrative arcs.
Extremely literature voice. It's true, but he shouldn't just say it like that.
Yeah. Life, just because you hang a Chekhov's gun on the wall doesn't mean you have to fire it. I say, handing my scythe to this guy and telling him to kill it.
Oh, I did love that part though.
Yeah.
I love that he didn't kill it, and then by not killing it, he ended up killing a rat in there, and we got a little scene with the death of rats leading that rat into the afterlife. The death of rats really didn't have much to do with the story, but I love him so much.
He's very good.
Spoiler, the death of rats is never going to be plot critical. The death of rats is a good footnote.
The death of rats is a treat to Iris, the rat liker, who loves rats.
Yeah, very good.
The death of rats is a treat to all of us.
Yeah. Just cheering on Death the whole time, making friends. Like, the death of rats is important in that, like, you know, it's a way for Death to get his whole, I know why the prisoner keeps birds thing.
Yeah, just this, the moment at the end where he's just, like, actually maybe being lonely forever, even when it's, like, your destiny in every way. Maybe I can bend the rules just a little bit to keep some meaning here. And it's really great, and it means a lot, but also it's just really, really funny, especially, like, that the scene with him absorbing all of the other deaths, you get, like, the picture of the death of rats hanging onto a beam desperately.
Yeah.
And it's just very funny that for some reason no other death did this, that, like, all of the other deaths went, but just the little rat guy, like, no!
Well, that's...
Yeah, and the implication that the death of fleas was doing the same thing on the death of rats.
Yeah, it's so good.
Well, that's the thing. Rats are tenacious.
Yeah.
They don't die easy.
Plus, rat death had a bit of a forewarning. Like, they would have seen death about to do this.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Most insider knowledge.
Yeah.
That was great. I also love that, if we're talking about Scythe Talk, baby. It's Scythe Talk time.
Welcome to Scythe Chat, our segment about scythes.
I know that this isn't the last time they do this, but I do love that they demonstrate how sharp that Death likes his scythes sharpened to by actually, like, having him cut the air and then slicing some of the sentences up.
Yeah.
That's some of that, like, House of Leaves shit that I like. That's some, like, that's just a great visual thing.
Yeah.
That Terry didn't have to do that, but he did, and that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never met a text I didn't like.
Again, like, this kind of ends up being weird nostalgia for me, because, like, when I first read this book, again, reminder, I got started on the game through the mud first, and then I actually went into the books. When I was reading that bit in the book, I went, wait a second, I've seen a tiny little farmhouse in the game. I've got this weird feeling that I've just been given an instruction manual.
Ooh.
And sure enough, in-game, you can go do those exact same steps, save for one little detour to get the piece of silk. Doesn't matter. But you can go forge a scythe, you can start sharpening it with increasingly sharp things, and then finally you go out during the morning and you just sharpen scythe on sunlight, and now you have this ridiculously cool weapon you can carry.
Oh, that rules.
Fuck, yeah, that whips.
And, like, the quest structure in the game is very much does this sort of thing. Like, if there's something in the books that can be replicated, chances are you're going to be rewarded for replicating it. Usually not to the point of them giving you a cool fucking scythe, though.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I really loved the entire section with that. I think part of the reason I'm so not as down on the Windle Poons sections is even though they definitely aren't as good, you get such little doses of death, and they're all so condensed. Every single thing he says is just like, this is an incredible line. Just like,
yeah.
Oh, every line Death says is killer. And I feel like if we had more of it, like, it just wouldn't hit as hard. You would have to have more filler, and it just wouldn't be as good. But as it is, every single time he talks, it's like, oh, fuck. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's always, like, a good joke or, like, a good line or part of, like, a really good conversation. Even, like, the one where, people keep playing games with Death, and he's like, I even won a exclusive possession. I had both utilities and a house on Park Place.
Which is a little bit of a stretch for a Monopoly joke, but I love calling it exclusion possession.
Yeah.
Because that's literally what a Monopoly is.
Yeah, like, it's a better fucking joke than in sewer ants.
It's a pretty good joke. I thought it was very funny. Speaking of that, what did y'all think of the new deaths?
There's a term called, if I'm getting this right, I might pronounce it wrong, Chunibayo?
Yeah.
Which
fucking Chuny death
is about, like, a middle schooler who thinks that they are the coolest person of all time.
Yeah, clutching a figure over my blood eye that all my power channels through.
Chuny Toons death over here.
It was really great having Death going, what the fuck is this idiot doing?
Yeah.
This, just like, oh, no, okay, hold on. How much time do we have left? Oh, a few minutes? Wait, it's like 11:45. Okay, we have exactly 15 minutes.
Yeah. It's also very funny that, like, the auditors were like, oh, we think that old Death is too shitty and human. We cannot have
too much of a personality.
Job. They bring a new Death in, and new Death is, like, has a personality from day one.
Yeah, and it's the
just that
worst
he's
one.
a prick.
I mean, I'd say even more than he's a prick, he's uncaring. He is completely obsessed with himself. That he sees, like, oh, that's kind of the thing. He has a crown. Like, the whole point is that this version of death, this vision of death, is one where, as opposed to death being something that is sad and comforting and horrifying, but at the same time something that, like, will come for us all, and that's just something we have to grapple with. It's this thing of death as ruling us all. In the end, you cannot escape death. Why try?
Yeah, our death is a professional. What can the harvest hope for if not for the care of the Reaper Man?
Yeah.
Like,
And this death is just one of, like, why wouldn't you care? I win in the end, thus I should be able to do basically anything I want. I'm all that matters. And I really kind of loved that alternate vision of death as something genuinely rather horrifying.
Well, I mean, since the notion of it being something that was sort of cobbled together from the current unconscious of the Discworld, and it just being sort of not really super well formed yet. Like, maybe it would have chilled out a little bit given time, but there wasn't any reason to let it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
like, I was about to say the Combine Harvester, too.
Yeah.
Which is just like, there's nothing, not even like a feeling of death being a king, just death is endlessly taking everyone, no feelings, no meaning, complete and utter lack
construct.
of anything. Yeah. They're both really good and fucked up and horrifying visions of death.
yeah.
Are malevolent gods better than none?
I loved those two bits.
Yeah, that was cool. Also, I like that, like, Death eventually defeated the Combine Harvester by just, like, fucking it up a little bit.
yeah, he just, he just has to, like, throw the mechanism out of whack a little bit. Like, oh, the whatever rod jammed up through the this and the that. And
You don't gotta play an ace when a 2 will do.
He was absolutely describing... Okay, he was absolutely showing that he was paying attention to the absolute nonsense that Ned Simnel was saying.
Yeah.
And at the same time, also getting his revenge on Ned for not destroying the site.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, and killing this machine that, frankly, he never liked all that much in the first place. Yeah.
Him stealing the tarp from it in the first time around was just very good, especially with Miss Flitworth goes, "Huh, you're back fast. Yeah, I sure am, huh?" And then later on, she goes, "Oh, wait a second. Okay, I know exactly what you did, and, fuck that guy, but, we probably have more pressing matters."
Yeah.
Death can be a little petty as a treat.
Yeah, like, here, give him this 3/8 Gripply.
That was
It's a
great.
cotter pin.
And then, of course, we already talked about the Azrael scene, but...
Love that
what
big
a
text.
scene.
Big text
Yeah.
word, man.
Oh, it's so
large,
good.
large letter. I see the big letters, and I'm like, this is good writing.
See, I
Bigger
didn't know
letters
about that
with better
totally.
writing.
I didn't know about that until I read Elspeth afterwards. I'm reading a fucking ebook. It didn't have that.
Oh, no! Oh, yeah. In the printed book, the text takes up an entire page. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's specifically written so that, at least in some printings fucked it up, but in some printings, such as the American paperback, which I own, it is written so that you turn the page and then you see a whole page that just says yes.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
it-
like, that's a comics trick where it's like, if you want to keep people on a cliffhanger, you always put stuff like on the right side of page spreads so that when people turn the page, it's like a little reveal, like they're opening a present. And that happened with the paperback copy here, and I'm so pleased about that.
Yeah, the L-Space annotation even has Pratchett saying, such and such edition messed it up. I wrote 400 extra words to get on a left-hand page in the hardcover. Come on.
Yeah, between that and the little handwritten "a present from Ankh-Morpork" things, this book had the most visual elements of any Discworld book we read so far.
Yeah, it plays a lot with the medium. It's enjoyable. I appreciate
That was nice.
On that note, actually, I found the book really interestingly structured. Reading it, I kept thinking, this feels like a TV show. Like, the way that it's structured, where, like, it does a little bit of death, and then it jumps to a different story, back to the other side, and, like, it's cutting to, like, random bits at times, and it feels like it has a real plot progression. This felt very influenced by, like, I kept thinking, like, what if this was a movie or a TV show or something, in a way that I haven't.
Pratchett has always tried to do
Yeah, we
that.
said
Like,
that
he
about
has
the Life
outright
Fantastic.
talked about the camera in he outright talks about the camera sometimes, but it also just kind of flows that way.
Yeah.
It just flows better in this time. Again, everything about this is just, the book is firing on all cylinders almost the whole way through.
I genuinely am surprised they haven't tried to adapt this into film yet, especially because they did a Hogfather, I believe it was a mini-series that went over really well. Unfortunately, if they did it now, they wouldn't be able to get Christopher Lee back to play Death because he's dead. But
Yeah.
Ironic.
like, can you really think of a better person than Christopher Lee to play Death? Because I really can't.
If I had a while to think, I could probably come up with someone, but that is a really good casting.
Yeah, it's great.
I think they should just go for the guy with the lowest Levenstein distance and get Christopher Lloyd.
That would be an interesting take.
I'm not sure how well that would work, to be honest.
No, but the
You'd have
names
to
are similar.
You'd have to auto-tune him so far that he starts sounding like a Vocaloid.
I think maybe Idris Elba could do it, and then he could say that he's played Death and Knuckles, which not many people can say that they have.
Both
You know,
genders.
Death and Taxes, Death and Knuckles.
Death and Knuckles.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see this as like a... I mean, I think, of course, the book will always be superior, but I think it's... Considering how filmic Terry's writing is, it is interesting to think about which books would make for good TV and which books wouldn't. Especially because so few have been adapted. The Watch doesn't count as an adaptation.
That's not a real adaptation.
Nope. But yeah, was there anything else we wanted to discuss before we go to the rankings?
Yeah.
You know,
I wanted to talk about, well, for one, the one big thing, the big scene that I feel like I want to talk about was both just before and then after the Azrael scene, you get Death and Mrs. Flitworth at the dance.
Yeah, that's a beautiful scene.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
so good.
Oh my god, that was so sweet.
That was that was one of the main moments where I was just like crying the whole way through. Oh, it's so good.
we get this whole bit about, do you dance? I'm known to.
Yeah. And it goes through all of this stuff, and it's so beautiful, and genuinely one of my favorite things. And it ends with the scene at the avalanche, and it's so incredible, and there's these great lines. And then the final moment is a fucking Lone Ranger joke.
Yep.
I saw that and was just like, Pratchett, I've been crying for like 5 minutes straight now, reading so far, and your final thing is to go, and who was that masked man, as your joke.
Yep.
Jesus
come on, that's
fucking Christ.
That is the perfect place to drop a joke. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it was perfect.
Yeah.
I was just so mad.
Yeah, no, same shit. I was crying during Death's conversation with Windle, and I forget what the joke was. I thought it might have been "It's a Wonderful Afterlife."
No, it was
something like
This
that.
Was Your Life.
Both of those were in there, but yeah, something like that. There was some like joke in there. I was laughing and crying at the same time. Fuck.
But really, I really just loved that scene. The whole, both of them dancing together, and just like everything that happened, and just like also just the whole thing of like with Mrs. Flitworth's character, and the whole thing of like Death being like, I have gotten all of the most expensive things in the entire universe that one can get, and her being like, I don't want any of that. You're going to the dance with me. Obviously.
Yeah,
That's
I
what
could
we
take you
do.
anywhere. I want to go to the dance. This dance right here. They expect me. I can't not go.
And the fact that he does it's just, it's so good.
Of course.
Yeah,
Because that's the best thing he could possibly give her in that moment.
there was I took a note about the scene where Death is like trying to get her a really good diamond, and none of the ones at the store. Death keeps asking like, "Is it friendly? Is this a friendly diamond?" The guy's like, "What are you talking about? No." And then he talks about this giant diamond in some, booby-trapped temple somewhere. And to answer your next question, sir, I would personally go to bed with it. I would fuck this diamond.
That rock!
I mean, mood.
Yeah.
This is a diamond the size of an ostrich egg.
Yeah.
I don't think there are many things that I wouldn't do to it.
Yeah.
It's great because he gets it, and then
Crunch.
the priests at that temple are like, nobody ever comes here anyways. Maybe nobody has to find out.
Yeah, who would know but us?
Yeah.
It's
It's your turn to be high priest next week.
Yeah, can I have the big priest hat?
I guess.
Of course, and then the very last thing, the first and last section of the books with the Morris dance.
Yeah, I had to look that one up.
I think that probably qualifies for our recurring segment of most British reference in this book. Because we do not have Morris dances in America.
Well, according to this L-Space annotation, there is maybe 100 or so Morris dancers in the U.S. and Canada.
Wow, really?
That's basically zero.
Yeah, I mean, given
shit alive.
that's basically 0 per capita, but it's not really a thing over here. Correct.
The only reason I know about it was because I read this book in high school, and I had to look it up online with what the Morris dance was, and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. If I may read from L-Space, for the readers at home, these illusions may be lost to the typical American reader. Picture then 6 men in white shirts and trousers decorated with ribbons, wearing bells on their legs in a 2x3 formation. The men, not the bells. To a tune played on fiddle or squeeze box, they dance up and down, back and forth, gesturing with big white handkerchiefs in their hands, or clashing yard-long sticks with each other. As to ring in spring or something?
Yeah, it's a very pagan, neo-pagan thing.
I will say at the beginning it's very funny in that way, and it's very this is weird British thing.
They do mention the Ninja Morris men on page 1, which was weird. I do love the idea of doing a reverse dance for the harvest and fall that represents death.
Yeah, the idea that you have to do, if you do one, you have to do the other because you're exerting some kind of force on the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good bit.
The idea that this thing that comes up a lot in the end, which is you have to have both. You have to have both worlds, right? You can have a dog man and a man dog, and they sync up once a month. You have to have both.
Mm-hmm.
It should say something that I fucking love this book, even though I am very anti-death in my personal opinions, and yet I still love this book and find it deeply meaningful.
Yeah.
That's how much I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I knew that there was this particular death waiting for me, I probably wouldn't be scared shitless by it.
Well, that's the thing, right? You're scared beforehand, but afterwards it's usually pretty fine. You don't have the glands anymore.
Good news, the worst possible thing has already happened.
Yeah. God, even the shit with death. Oh, this is why people run. This is why this is why people are afraid. I get it now. Or
you knew that it was only putting off the inevitable, but really that's all that life is.
Yeah, or the burning building and Bill Door's it's inevitable. Her time is up, and everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about, you asshole? That's a terrible thing to say about that little girl. And then
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, there's oh no, all right, I get it now.
Him deciding to give her some of his life, and that coming around and being the thing that saves him is it's such a good moment, especially because it was Flitworth who told him off and everything. And
so
good.
It was the same girl who kept saying you're a skeleton. Where does the drink go?
Yeah, that was such a realistically written child because she's wow, you're a skeleton, huh? And Death is no, I'm not. And she's yeah, you are. And Death is all right, yes, fine. And she's did you know that I can do this with my hands?
Yeah.
It's so good.
Later she's where does the drink go? Why doesn't it go through you and onto the ground?
Just the most believable child writing I've ever heard.
Yeah. And the stuff with she's living on borrowed time.
God. There's so many good things. I really just fucking love this book.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Last
Well-
thing before we go to the rankings, I want to shortly say something and also plug something, sort of.
Ooh.
I'm going to talk more about this in a side episode that I'm going to be doing with some friends of the podcast, but I want to talk about the themes of the book just really briefly, because my friend presented the idea, my friend who I'm going to be doing the episode with, that the book is basically about austerity and the idea of like replacing death being this very like cruel, you've done well, we don't care, you're fired. And then what comes in to replace it being a crueler, uncaring version, but also more than that, just capitalism being the thing that comes in. Because like
That's an
when this
interesting
happens,
read.
it's a really interesting read that I want to dive more into, and it kind of ties the book together in this way. If you kind of see the sort of like encroaching, much less caring, and much more, in one case, fascist death, and in another case, uncaring mechanical death, as two things that are coming upon the universe now that there isn't like the old idea of death, and at the same time, like the shopping mall as also kind of an example of this, in this way of like, you can't just throw out this shit without replacing it with anything or replacing it with fucking bullshit, especially because I need to check something real quick because I'm bad at things. So 1991 would have been just at the end of Thatcher's time in office.
Yep.
Interesting.
So, like, it's an interesting thing, and I want to like talk more about this, but we're near the end of the podcast. But also, 2 years later, Pratchett would write another book called Johnny and the Dead, which seems to have very similar themes.
I haven't read that yet.
Yeah, it's a second book in a specific series of kids' books he wrote. I believe they're young adult books. About a kid who can see a bunch of ghosts that starts like talking with it, because I believe that, I don't actually know the plot, but I believe it's that the cemetery is going to be bulldozed and replaced with like a new apartment building or something. So
Jeez.
I'm going to be doing a side episode with some friends of the podcast, and in a few weeks we're going to read through that as well, and then talk about the themes of Reaper Man and the themes of that.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll be posting that on our podcast feed, so stay subscribed and stay tuned for that. That'll be really exciting.
Hey June, when you do that, can you tell Bear I said hi? They'll know what it means. Thank you.
But yeah, that'll be cool. You may tune into the podcast and hear us go, wow, these books weren't alike at all, but I guess we'll analyze them. And that'll be really funny.
Be great.
Anyways.
But yeah, speaking of books, so we have a ranking on this show where we are objectively trying to determine the best Discworld novel that exists in existence, using our 4 gigantic planet-sized brains. So for Reaper Man, would you say that it was better than Eric?
We're not doing this.
We're not doing this.
Let's
How
skip
dare
to
you
the end.
insult Reaper Man?
Okay.
like
Was
this?
Reaper Man
Here's
better
the
than
question.
Guards Guards?
Yeah, is it number 1 or not?
I would put it number 1. Guards didn't make me cry.
Yeah, this one is the most emotionally resonant book we've read so far. It feels like it adds the final dash of something that wasn't really in Pratchett's writing in significant quantities before, which is like an earnest, desperate sincerity. That I think is what, when people think of the complex gumbo of flavors that Discworld is, that's one of the most significant allures of it.
That is really the thing. I mean, this is the thing that we've been waiting to really show up for the entire podcast so far. I mean, we were definitely getting hints of it in Guards and even in Moving Pictures, but the stuff that this evoked is the kind of stuff that we're going to be riding high for the next 20 books.
Yeah.
Give or take. You know what I mean. But I was worried going into it that I would be too colored by nostalgia to really be able to judge it very well, but I don't think I'm going to get any argument here that we're just going to put it straight at the top for now.
Yeah.
Something else is probably going to beat it eventually, but right now it's the first out of the gate.
Yeah. June and I were actually speculating before the podcast started about like what's going to knock this out of the top spot, and like I think it'll eventually get knocked out of the top spot realistically, and probably sooner rather than later. But like it's not going to be easy to beat this. It's not going to be like a walk in the park. It's not going to be like previously where it was just like, well, we're kind of just rearranging deck chairs here as Terry sort of sharpens his skills a little bit.
Okay. Let me ask what I think is a more interesting question. Eventually there's going to be a tier break point up here. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Guards and Reaper Man are going to land in the same tier the next time there's a break?
No. It's on a different level, I think.
Yeah. This is going to be up there with the best Discworld books ever.
I'm glad.
I hate to like say this is my only criteria for judging a book, but if this one goes in the tier, which consists of books, Discworld books that made me cry, then it's not going to be in the same zone as Guards.
There's the tier, the laugh tier, the grimace tier, and Eric.
Like by the same token, like if you're not which one of these is better, but if you were trying to get someone into the series, do you start them with this, or do you start with them with one of the earlier books?
You start them with this.
Yeah.
I think this is a good starting point. I think Guards also works great as a starting point, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point it's going to boil down to who are you preaching?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I think someone will vibe more with witches or guards, but
yeah, there are definitely people who would respond better to witches or even to Subversion of Cop Story.
Yeah.
If I just had to just be like, hey, so just one book that's going to be a good Discworld book for basically anyone, as of now, this would be my one. It's just that fucking good.
18-year-old me is feeling very vindicated right now.
Hey, 18-year-old Belina, good taste.
Great taste, 18-year-old Belina.
Honestly, the question I'm most excited for is, will Small Gods still be up here? Because that was the other one that really hit me as a kid, and we're coming up on that soon. And I don't know how well that's aged.
I'm really nervous about it. You gotta understand. I was so into Small Gods as a small Iris. I was just a little pupil. Small Gods influenced my first graphic novel quite a bit, and now it's just like, oh god, here we go.
Iris,
here
you
we
wouldn't
go.
have
And anybody who's read Epiphany didn't go, Iris definitely read Small Gods around this point.
This is kind of like the thing in Small Gods, huh? Yup, that's because it is the thing with Small Gods.
Iris, you didn't have like any like weird personal trauma relating to like Christianity specifically. Or
what the hell would ever make you think that? Yeah.
But this book
Pot calls kettle black.
This book is fair. Anyways, this book is.
I will argue that Small Gods will at least be in the same tier as Reaper.
We're gonna have some big conversations about it.
I'll put my $20 on that line now.
That's fair.
I'll take your $20
it might be
if
under,
you're wrong.
but it'll probably be in the same tier. Okay. But we can't call anything until we read the books, because who knows?
So we're unanimously putting this at the top?
I'd say numero uno, baby. Hell yeah. Put it on the big board there. I should put in a sound effect that's like a little Family Feud ding right here or something.
Good answer. Just go grab some clips from like the old game.
Kill!
Ba-da-bop, ba-da-bop.
Oh, before we finish, I wanted to ask, what was y'all's favorite joke from the book?
Oh my god.
Guerrilla warfare was definitely the one that got the biggest laugh out of me.
Because I am mentally still only about 10 years old. Then you must be out of your mind, Arch-Chancellor, said the senior wrangler. He lowered his voice. Anyway, he's an undead. I don't see how you can save undeads. It's sort of a contradiction in terms. A dichotomy, said the Bursar helpfully. Oh no, I don't think surgery's involved.
Mine was, this is a great joke on its own, but also as a setup for later. You didn't have to be a wizard to know that something was wrong, and Windle's senses were whining like a dynamo. Lupine leapt at a drifting sheet of paper and brought it to him. Crudely written here in the text is, "Amazing reductions!" Windle shook his head sadly. 5 exclamation marks. The sure sign of an insane mind.
Yeah. Always
That is one of those jokes that has stuck with
We
me
will
for my entire
We will
life.
see this joke return.
Yeah, and it's so
So
good
great
when
effect.
it returns. My favorite joke, the one that just had me going like, oh, that's so good. I don't know if I laughed the hardest, but I think I laughed the most consistently, was the recurring gag of Sergeant Colin guarding the bridge. And
Yes.
then things happening on the bridge, and him being like, I made the best decision to guard here. I'm a genius. Like, just fucking great joke.
Yeah, evening, Sergeant.
Show-
Bridge is still here, huh? Yep.
Showing up at the crossroads when they're trying to bury Windle and going, I knew it! All of my decisions have been correct up until now!
So good.
Truly, I'm the paragon of modern policing.
Uh,
So good. Anyways, that was Reaper Man. Thank you all so much for talking about this delightful book with me. And thank you, listeners, for listening to it. We have...
sorry, I did have
Oh.
one more bonus joke I forgot about, which is at the beginning of the book when everything's coming alive, one of the alchemists complains that his glassware exploded and he got shards, and it's like, talk about a sharp retort.
God,
And then, of course,
yeah.
they belabor
That's a
the
good one.
joke, and eventually, it was actually an alembic, thank you. And also, there's a bit in there about, we get another reprise of the joke about a thermometer, which measures magic. All right, sorry,
Yes.
continue.
Oh, no, you're fine. Oh, my God. I forgot to mention. Holy shit. Oh, fuck. Before we go
forget
into
about
the
Wow
little
Wow
outro
sauce?
thing- Yes, I remembered Wow Wow sauce. They actually talk about what I think is a case of Terry coining a term. Ridcully is an auto-condimenter, which means that he will
Right.
put condiments on everything, regardless of the flavor of it. And he has
Before
this
even
special...
tasting it.
He has a special sauce called Wow Wow sauce, which is like made up of all this bullshit, and it explodes some stuff later. And like, I feel a deep and personal kinship with Ridcully in this regard, because I am also, unfortunately, an auto condimenter. I will put sauces on like everything.
I have
And-
good news for you. Nanny Dog's cookbook does have a recipe for Wow Wow sauce, though it does probably exclude the charcoal, sulfur, and saltpeter, which, as you might know, is how you
It's
make
gunpowder.
gunpowder.
That's fine. I will have to get a copy of that so I can try it. That's going to be another bonus episode where I make some of the shit from Nanny Ogg's cookbook. I am saying that right now. I need to make that happen.
God, time to start up a very small blog.
But yeah, thank you all for listening. We have several social medias and websites and shit. You can find us online at anchor.fm/discpod. We're also available on your better places where you get podcasts like Spotify, Apple, Google Play, and shit. Subscribe to us there. We love getting the numbies. We don't make any money off of this show, but I like seeing number go up, and I like seeing demographics of who listens to this show. It's always fun seeing those colorful charts and graphs. It makes my brain happy. And we also have a Twitter at DiscPod, if you like Twitter. If you don't like Twitter and you prefer decentralized social media, we have a Mastodon account on DiscPod at queer.party. We also have a email account, disc@hypnovire.us, where you can send us all sorts of fun messages about the books you might have read in the Discworld series recently, or the episodes you might have heard recently, or whatever.
Your favorite skeletons.
Send us your favorite skeletons. Send us your top 10 fave skeletons, or send us your top 10 least favorite skeletons.
Yeah,
I've
give
never
us
met
your
a skeleton
bottom
I
10
didn't like,
skeletons.
but I'm just checking real quick to see if we had any fan mailing comments. Oh, we did have a few comments. Pharaoh posts a day ago, I'm starting over listening to DiscPod since I'm going to be drawing for essentially forever and I'm enjoying myself. My thoughts so far, I suspect the lingering taste in heterosexuality line might have been tied more into wizards being, in theory, celibate for reasons explained in sorcery, but it's been a long time since I bothered with the color of magic. To which Pumpkin Spice Computer replies, a lot of wizards experiment with heterosexuality in their early years. It's perfectly natural. Listen, everybody's got to get a phase out of the way early on. It's fine. We all understand. On the Twitter account. Oh, we got a bunch of messages on the Twitter account. Oh, it's mostly just people retweeting. Well, that's nice. Thank you for retweeting. And the email isn't working right now, so I'll check that later. But yeah, you can send us messages and shit, and we'll read them, and it'll be fun. And we love engaging with you.
I do
You
want
might
to
read
point
your letter
out,
on the air.
I do want to point out from someone who I'm friends with, but who started reading through Discworld due to the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Quote, from a tweet they made, Reaper Man was a lot better than moving pictures, and Windle Poons specifically is an incredibly compelling character in Reaper Man, but in both books, every single moment he was in, I visualized him like this. And... yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What is it?
I posted an image of
Oh,
Oh,
no! Oh, no! It's the Gumball Boy from regular show.
it.
Yeah.
It's Pops from regular show.
Yeah, I could see it, though.
Just imagine him, but with
Also-
eyes like gimlets.
I just want to point out that they spelled Windle's last name with a Z.
Oh, God.
Windle Poons. That's the
We
extreme version.
rebooted this man for the hip new 90s demographic. He's extreme now. He knows what a skateboard is.
The book's from the 90s.
Yeah, but he wasn't revamped for the 90s. They didn't make him extreme. They didn't make him flavor blasted. He doesn't like chips.
This Windle Poons appears as a grand prize on Legends of the Hidden Temple, along with a Huffy bike and those shoes that have the ratchet laces on them. Those are wild. Anyways, my name is Iris J. I do comic books. You can find my work at irisj.net. You can also find me online at irisjcomics on Twitter and at irisj.comics at mastodon.social on Mastodon. As for my one non-Discworld thing, I'm going to promote this episode. I'd like to promote creator of Beastars Paru Itagaki's new comic book series Sanda, which is about a dystopian near future where Christmas doesn't exist anymore, only there is a kid who is the descendant of Santa Claus who can turn into a huge buff old man Santa Claus whenever he puts on the color red. And he uses this to battle the forces ruling this dystopian boarding school that he lives in. It is buck fucking wild, and I hope it gets officially localized soon, because it really it's some of the comics that I've ever read. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love all of it. It's amazing. Sorry.
Hell of a pitch there.
Yeah, I love an anime the Santa Claus.
It's anime Santa Claus, but it's also the Hunger Games, and it works like Shazam, and the other main character is a girl who just wants to find her best friend girl who she's in love with, and she is absolutely unhinged. She will blow up the entire school if she has to, if it gets her closer to her girlfriend. And it is awesome.
Hell
There is no ceiling on how wild this series seems to get, and there's only 8 chapters up right now. I'm like obsessed with it. It's great.
I am Juniper. Find me on Twitter at Juniper Theory. Don't have anything to plug except for the side episode, which, if you're listening to this, will come out soon, hopefully, or check if it's already out, maybe. But aside from that, the non-Discworld thing I'll plug is the non-personal thing is Inscription, which I just played. It's really fucking good. It's a really good video game. It's got cards in it.
I heard that was real good.
It's got a little guy who does a little dance, and it's fucking great. And it almost made me cry.
I feel most games can be improved by the addition of a little guy who does a little dance.
The little
give me a
guy who
funny
does the
little
little
guy.
dance in this game is so good. You have no idea.
Hell yeah.
Just the best fucking little guy. Anyways.
FBLGLD, first person little guy little dance.
You know how they have you can pet the dog? They should have the little guy do a little dance.
I am still Belina. I still, as far as anyone else knows, I apparently just live in the show notes. I have not been up to nearly enough lately, and one of these days I'll change that.
It's still nice to have your company here.
I'm glad to be me too. I just sometimes feel very unaccomplished next to you people.
Look, we can't all have 4 podcasts, but that's fine.
That's true.
What would you? That's why we plug things that aren't our own projects. What are you gonna plug?
Yeah.
Go listen to the fucking horse isekai podcast that Grace is doing.
Excellent taste.
Oh,
Alright, speaking of, I have been the internet's beloved Princess Grace. You can find my writing, programs, podcast posts, and everything else is fit to plug at princess.software, including my hot new podcast. I mean, new, we've been doing it for a while now, but we were hit by a horse truck and got isekai'd into Equestria?
God.
The finest My Little Pony rewatch podcast I've ever been on, and you can find that either at princess.software or at our hot new website, isekai.horse.
I can't believe you got isekai.horse. That's incredible.
Right? It was just
yes.
there. No one else wanted it.
That's so good. Also, thank you very much for continuing to soldier on with this podcast, despite the handicap of having hooves, which I can only imagine makes it very hard to turn pages.
Oh, it does. Well, usually I use my mouth, but it's either that or I would have to get isekai'd back into having fingers.
Thank you for re-isekaiing or re-isekaiing yourself every month just to specifically read a Terry Pratchett book and do this podcast before de-isekaiing back into Equestria.
no. All she has to do is to get out of Equestria, she just has to go find and hit a cart.
I just want to say...
Then I have to get in front of a horse truck again to get back there.
I just want to say this podcast is a terrible idea, and I will never be on it. Grace, what would you like to plug as your non personal thing?
Let's say the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney games. They're still good. I've been working my way through them again. Big fan of these
Classics.
gay lawyers.
Hell yes. Evergreen, one of the greatest video games of all time.
The lawyers are gay, folks. It's good.
And I mean, what is a courtroom interrogation if not two little guys doing a complicated little dance?
Oh, I have complicated feelings about this, but I fully believe this is the only way Miles and Phoenix can, express their feelings.
That's fair. It's the Jenny Holzer art. We invent elaborate rituals to give us permission to touch each other.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's the legal system.
I cannot express the noise I make every time that fucking repressed lawyer man avoids making eye contact and says, "You have to leave. You've burdened me with unnecessary feelings."
Oh, it's so gay.
Wow.
Anyways.
Don't watch the anime. It's bad. Game's good.
Yes. Movie I hear is good too.
Yeah, the Takashi Miike film is excellent. As is the Teruzuka musical, the all-female cast musical.
God.
Is
Yeah, that was
excellent.
awesome.
Any luck finding the other two of those?
I have the other two, but they're not subtitled in English.
Listeners, if you can find a version of the those versions of the musical that are subtitled of Ace Attorney or any other baffling property that is feels very gay, please let us know.
Normally,
Yeah.
I'd say this is a long shot, but I know what kind of listener base we have.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know if you have that. Or the skeletons thing. This has been Discovers. Join us next month when we cover the 12th book in the series, Witches Abroad, where we get to go on a little bit of a witchy road trip. Get hyped for that. I know I am. I love all the witches books, and I'm so excited to get to this one.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it.
Truly it was a Reaper Man.
Really make you think. See you next week.
Good night.
Really makes you weep. Good night.
What, did anyone twink in this book?